How do you deal with breakups? Keep busy, pick up an old hobby or start a new one, reconnect with friends and family. It sucks and it's going to keep sucking for a time. Prioritize and be kind to yourself. Remember, this too shall pass. Time is the only remedy. Even years later you will feel it in your soul, but sometimes in a nostalgic, almost comforting way. Last breakup broke my heart, not going to lie. Then work sent me to the Caribbean to work for the winter. Spent the winter on a beachfront resort, sitting on the beach with a drink in my hand, and hanging out with the young ladies getting on and off the cruise ships. I was still heartbroken, but I was heartbroken on a beach with a drink in my hand, so it was okay, I guess. Wallow in self-pity, ignore the outside world. Deny any request to go socialize, alienate friends, skip work until fired, legal mind-altering substances. I never promised any healthy techniques. Complete immediate total cut-off, remove from contacts, unfriend on social media, delete all pictures, get rid of anything that would remind me of them. I can't do the let's still stay friends thing. Being around them would just be a constant reminder that I can't have that intimacy with them anymore. Perhaps it's a lack of maturity and a weakness of character on my part, but that's the answer to your question. Edit: to clarify, this is after an official breakup. I'm not talking about getting out of a relationship by ghosting them. Last time I had a difficult breakup, I bought a bike and started riding. Spent 2, 3, 4, 5 hours alone at a time pedaling hard, and you can work some shit out. Distraction: every day it will hurt just a little less, so each day find something to take your mind off of the ache. A new game, an outing with friends, a project. Eventually you'll realize you don't miss them as much as you did before, and you'll be able to move on. Here's my systematic way of processing in rapid fashion once a breakup has happened, regardless of who initiated it. Every time you think about the former partner, you spend extra time meticulously thinking about all the negative parts of the relationship. They never picked up after themselves, they constantly complained about their friends and family, they always made you go home early from the party with your friends, etc. Despite the fact that during a relationship you compromise on certain things. Once it's over, you can retroactively use all the points you compromised on to justify why this is actually a good thing for you. Repeat 1. After a while, I've got it down to about 48 hours tops. You'll have rewired the memory so that your thoughts of the past first give you the relief emotion instead of the grief emotion. Thinking about the relationship negatives doesn't have to mean you hate the person, or that they were a bad person. You're just focusing on reframing every inconvenience, compromise, etc. as an incompatibility and justification for ending. If you do this well, you can absolutely be good friends still without having even the slightest desire to ever date them again. The idea of dating them again should end up making you have a visceral reaction like ha 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 no, lol lol. Currently going through the divorce process. And, for me, I'm just working as much as possible, truck driver, and trying not to think about and dwell on it too much. I know this isn't the best method, it's borderline denial, but if I don't do something to keep my mind occupied, I'm gonna go nuts. My first breakup was horrendous, and it was all my fault. I cheated numerous times over the period, 18 months, and was very controlling. It was my first serious relationship and I was relatively young. 19. My best friend was going in and out of relationships and was incredibly controlling of his partners, and for some reason I followed suit. I asked questions like how many people have you slept with, and got annoyed when she told me the answer. I didn't like her friends, even though I didn't know them. I was just a horrible person. She broke it off, quite rightly, and for 6 months I behaved probably even worse. I messaged her all the time asking what she was doing. If she spoke to other guys on social media, I would message her asking what was going on. I threatened to do things to myself if she didn't take me back. I was a vindictive dick. To this day, I do not know why I snapped out of it, but I was driving home one day, still remember the road I was on, and something just clicked in my head. I got home, and texted her apologizing. She probably thought nothing of it as I had sent apology texts numerous times, then followed it up with vile behavior. However, at the end of the text I just said you won't hear from me again, but I mean this positively. I realize I have ruined numerous months of your life and that I had come to my senses. That was it. I didn't contact her again, and let her move on with her life. However, I was told that she found it hard to have relationships with guys, so I made quite a big call and moved city. There were personal reasons to move. I managed to secure a better job, etc. But I felt I owed it to her. I sent her a letter basically saying not to doubt herself and that I was the problem, not her. She sent me a letter back, and was sweet as ever and wished me all the best. Over 10 years since that whole saga happened, and she is happily married now with children, and I couldn't be happier for her. It taught me numerous things though. No matter how a relationship ends, do not be vindictive. It just causes a horrid feeling for both people. Time is a healer. In subsequent relationship breakups, I have been on both sides of the breakup, and each time I will make a point of taking time to step back and letting the situation cool down. Be sensitive to the other person. If you have been in a loving relationship, don't go and play the field immediately. It won't make you feel better. Try and find happiness in your own company. This will prove difficult at first, but if you can make time for yourself and go for a hike/run/cycle/drive, whatever it is, I found going for a hike and just having time to clear my head massively beneficial. You have no outside distractions. I think that's about it. Just don't do what I did. Don't be a horrid person. You will regret it for a long time. Hope you have a friend who will literally drop everything to be there for you. My last breakup, my friend stayed over and slept on my couch for 3 days, drank, ate, played games. After 3 days I was right as rain. I hope I can one day do the same for someone else, because it fixed me right up and made me realize everything was going to be fine, or better than it was. A true friend. I cut off all contact. Generally, I don't even maintain contact with mutual friends, especially if she is closer to them than I am. I spend a lot of time around my friends and focus on improving myself. That way, I know that when I'm ready to date again, I'll be healthier, more confident, or just better in at least a few ways. After that, it's a waiting game. Usually, the first 2 weeks are the hardest, regardless of the length of the relationship. But there are partners I still think about occasionally, even years and a few other partners later. Normally time and distance. I got over my ex-wife because we blocked each other's social media, phone number, left email as only talking source, and I moved 35 minutes away. But now, my girlfriend, who I've spent about the last 10 out of 13 months, left yesterday myself. She lives in an apartment right above me and works at the same place, and in the same area I do. So now I have to try to figure out how to get over somebody I love while I see them every day. I stopped eating almost completely for a few months and had multiple guys to whom I could text, call. Always somebody could answer if I needed company, and always somebody would send the good morning, sleep tight, beautiful, so there was absolutely no reason to go back. Very unhealthy way, but he was abusive. So, I work in hospitality, and when my ex dumped me years ago, I did a standard chef procedure. Everyone in the kitchen called my ex a cunt, got me drunk, and I hooked up with a waitress. 10/10 would recommend. I tried to give myself a few days to be a miserable slug of sadness. Last breakup, I allotted an entire weekend for wallowing, crying in the shower, crying over ice cream, crying in bed, the whole thing. Then when I woke up the next day, I told myself that I'm going to be a functioning human being. I can be a sad functional human being, but I've gotta be functional. You develop new routines, stick to them, and it makes it easier to deal with. I start to crochet a lot when my emotions seem overwhelming because I like to have my hands occupied. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. When I could stand to think about my ex, I started thinking about all the ways I was unhappy with them. Their ex literally never left us alone. He never asked me to watch his cat when he went out of town. He never let me sleep over, etc. I realized that now, I didn't have to deal with any of those things, and that felt nice. As shitty as I felt, there were positives of that relationship ending. Eventually, the sting goes away, trust starts to creep back in, and you feel alright. Being a human being is hard, but you can do it. Took me about a year if I'm being honest. When she finished me, I was blindsided and heartbroken. First relationship, I said to myself I can either watch Netflix, get fat and cry myself into depression, or I can use this new spare time, anger and energy to change my lifestyle and get into shape, which is exactly what I did. I started running daily and the weight dropped, helped by eating healthy too. I went from 16.5 stone all the way down to 13.5 stone to a weight which I was happy with. That was 2 years ago now, and I'm in the best shape of my life. I haven't been in a relationship since, and if I'm honest, I haven't been looking for one. I strongly believe that if you go out looking for love you won't find it, so I'm just going to let things play out and see where life takes me. It's hard, I'm not gonna lie. There was times I thought I'd never find love again, or I'd question what did I do wrong, but looking back, everything happens for a reason, and these are the cards I've been dealt, and it's up to me to play the best hand possible. I'll leave you with a quote from Avengers Endgame from Captain America that's great. You did the hardest part. You took the jump. You didn't know where you were gonna come down. And that's it. That's those little brave baby steps we got to take to try and become whole again. Try and find purpose. I went in the ice in 45 right after I met the love of my life. Woke up 70 years later. You gotta move on. Gotta move on. The world is in our hands. It's left to us guys. And we got to do something with it. Otherwise, Thanos should have killed all of us. I immediately cut contact. I don't block them. I just stop replying. Unless there is something that must actually be dealt with, like picking stuff up. You would not believe how much drama you save for yourself if you don't rise to the bait. I still get the odd message from one ex, who thinks he's grossing me out by talking about how he touches himself to thoughts of me, but joke's on him. I know how much it is killing him that I won't reply, otherwise he wouldn't still be sending stupid messages. Make it a clean break by shutting her out of my life completely. Have some fun with the boys and embrace distractions. Also remember that nothing will happen to make you suddenly feel better. You'll periodically think about her and feel like shit, but on average you'll think of her less frequently over time and it will hurt less. There's that old chestnut. The best way to get over someone is to get under someone else, not even just to rebound, either. Being with someone new for the first time definitely adds a finality in a way very few other ways do, and let's be honest, you don't always get closure, so sometimes finality is all you get. If you still got feelings for them, cry it out. Could take a day or a week, but after sometimes you feel better. Feelings for them will fade if you cry it out. Throw away all stuff that reminds you of them while still in crying phase. Cleanse, even cut off people who can bring up conversation about them if possible temporarily. When you know you cried less than yesterday, start a new hobby. Nowhere related, reminds you of them in any way remotely possible. I trashed everything I got from her, reminded me of her, bought the second-hand motorbike, made it look like newer model of the same motorbike, learned a thing or two about motorbike mechanics, rode it like there was no tomorrow or till I feel hungry or sleepy, return home, rinse repeat. It took me 9 days to be specific for me to start to get over my ex. Focus on myself. The only way to master solitary life is alone. You have to be single. Strength and independence and solitude is critical and underrated. Meditation and introspection are like hitting the mental gym. Revisit hobbies, listen to music, learn new things. Every time I'm in a relationship, I miss being single. I ended up feeling like total shit for weeks on end. Then I just developed pseudo force of will, got angry at how I was being, and through the pain I felt, just pushed on until I achieved what I wanted. Don't bottle up your feelings, cry it out, talk your emotions out with friends and family, etc. Get it out and seal it off, then go do a few things you'd never have done with your ex. It could be as crazy as bungee jumping or skydiving, or just traveling somewhere new. The idea is to have fun again, rejuvenate your sense of self, feel free, and get your mind off the breakup. Have a few flings, date again when you feel ready. Don't waste a bunch of time feeling sorry for yourself or getting back with your ex. Life is too short. I promise you're not the only person to feel the pain of a breakup. Even though it's an extremely isolating experience, things will get better with time. Smile. Except that relationship should be mutual. What helped me is to try to not sit on memories like listening to the music you listened to together, but everyone copes differently. It takes time to heal and accept, but you'll eventually come around. Pretty much everyone stated some great advice. For the most part, I've gotten my teenage daughter through 3 pretty hardcore breakups, and I think the best thing I have seen is just stay busy as you possibly can. Do not let your mind stop and drift to what you miss. I would also recommend reading about the psychological and neurological effects of breakups. I feel like the more you understand about your internal psyche and brain chemistry, the more you can feel like you're in control of it. Other than that, it's just time. Not sure if this one is in here, but heal yourself. If you're into meditation, do that. Connect with yourself, forgive yourself of whatever burdens trouble you. Drink water, keep busy, but most importantly connect with yourself and forgive yourself. At the end of the day, the most important person in your life is you. Trust you. Connect with you. Be happy with the better, improved you. Cheers, keep your head up and be happy. As others have mentioned, cutting them off completely. I am a blocker, deleter, and I don't stay friends with exes. I always realize after the fact that I'm not the kind of person I want to be. I reflect on how I could have better used my time, and focus on who I want to become. I lose my appetite when heartbroken and also work out harder. It's helped me get in shape. It's also pushed me to reach out to others and reconnect, and to focus on my hobbies that I'm passionate about. I usually take it out on enemies in video games, or just walk it off, or I'll have a couple of drinks. It really just depends on if it was me or the lady that broke up. I generally feel better when I'm the one calling it off, although there's been only one time it crushed me and still is. Write down whatever you are feeling or thinking. I did this after breaking off the relationship of 15 months, which was quite a haul for me since I was a junior in high school when we broke up. It super helped out. Write about anything. You can write to yourself about how upset you are, or you can write to them about how upset you are, or about how you aren't over them. Don't write with the intent of sending them to anyone, but writing can do a really good job of helping you figure out how you feel and come to terms with the situation, even if what you're writing doesn't feel like it. The other best thing you can do is to get a good sleep schedule, work out, clean your room, and get your work done as best as you can, whether it is school or job. Do some self-care. Talk with friends, disconnect from them completely on social media. Even if you said you'll be friends afterward, you need space away from them to heal, and especially with the latter. Most important of all, time. Wounds will heal itself. There will be scars but will stop hurting by the time. Make sure to keep your mind busy with other things. Working out actually works and helps you feel better quicker.